Yo YouTube, this is my video for Friday the 5th of July, and this might be the shortest one yet. Here are my stats for today. Based on an average fuel price of 13.94 pence per mile, today I've driven 162 miles, 162. I've worked for 7 hours and I've earned £100 gross from one CX job. I will have spent £22.58 on fuel, which means that after fuel costs taken into account, I've earned £77 today, which is basically just about enough, not quite, to cover my business costs for a day. So, let me tell you about what has happened. So, I'm not going to talk about the outcome, but yesterday was the UK general election, and therefore we have results coming in last night and today. And so I was torn between whether I should stay up all night and watch the election results come in and not work today, or whether I should do the opposite, work today and not stay up. And I did a bit of both. I stayed up quite late, but I had a job booked in, which I booked in yesterday afternoon, going from King's Lynn to Norwich, and I got a really good rate for it. I had my reservations about doing the job, but I thought at the rate that it was offered at, or that I got it for, I would be happy to do it. So, my reservations were, it's an hour to the pickup from my house in King's Lynn, 34 dead miles. Norwich would have been, I think, a quiet place to get work from. I haven't been in Norwich for a while, but I did think it was a Friday, so maybe it'd be busier for a Friday, and I'd like to try it out and just see what it was like. The work was for a short wheelbase van, and it was 50 loaded miles, 50 loaded miles, and I put a bid on of £100, and I got that pretty quickly. So I was quite intrigued to know what work was it, because that's £2 a mile is a pretty good rate for a short wheelbase van job. So I wanted to do it for a variety of reasons, to find out what the job was. Is it a regular job? What's it feel like? Is this a journey to Norwich from King's Lynn? And what's the work like coming out of Norwich? I expected probably to have a job heading to London from Norwich and then Denmark at home, but I didn't know what the situation would be. And also I wanted to find out how busy it was with drivers today as well, which I found out. And so I left my house at 9:30. It was a 10:30 pickup. The only thing of consequence that happened today on the way to there was I arrived at the gate at 10:30, and I could not see any buzzer. I had no phone number to ring, and so I bit the horn a couple of times, which I don't like doing. It sounds like quite a rude way of getting someone's attention. I went there, and eventually I had to call the shipper to get a number, which they gave me. I rang the number, and then they said there is actually a button, and I showed me where the button was. The button was my only defence in not seeing the button was it was the same colour as the railings, and it was above a keypad. So I focused on the keypad and didn't see the button above it as a separate item. Anyway, so next time I go, I know where it is, so I get it straight away. So I arrived on site. They're very friendly guys there. I took some boxes from there to Norwich. So I left the site at 10:50, and then I arrived at just a tad before 12 o'clock at my destination point in Norwich. It was an industrial estate. I utilised the building's toilets before I left. And then by the time I offloaded, done all the signing, it was 12 minutes past 12. And I went and drove to a nearby road and sat and bid on all the jobs that there were. was 3 jobs specifically in my area. There's a job going from Norwich to London. There's a job going from something like, let's say, Diss to Oxfordshire. But that Diss to Oxfordshire job, it was put on the system 3 times from 3 different shippers. And in my experience, that means it's not really a job. So I didn't even bother bidding on that one. I was about 45 minutes away from pickup. It was taking me quite a long way away from home. I bid on the London job, but I bid quite high. And then the only other job that was anywhere near was something like Norwich to, I'm going to say Huntingdon. Yes, Huntingdon, that was it. That was the best job. It was 70 loaded miles for a long wheelbase van. I bid £70, which is lower than I usually would do. But I was about 20 minutes from the pickup, and there in and around Norwich there were 5 of us drivers who were active on CX. There's one small van, there was a couple of 3 Lutons, and then there was a Sprinter and me. And I was kind of competing with 2 or 3 other people that were closer to that job. So it might not have been that I was it might have been the right price. I was probably a bit too far away from the pickup. And those are the 3 possibilities. So I waited and waited, and I looked at the other drivers where they were going, and a couple of them started driving away. An hour after an hour and a half after I arrived there, so at 1:30, I went to Lidl, which is about 2 miles away, got some food, sat in the little car park for another hour, getting very hot and a bit frustrated about the whole situation. By the time I left Lidl at 2:30, there was me and one other driver left in and around Norwich. But the problem I had was I had been waiting for 2.25 hours and had not really much of a sniff of a job, and I wasn't really keen on taking a job to London at this point, because that would have been a very long day for not very much reward. So I was toying with just going home, having an early day, and on the way back, so I drove at 2:30 towards home on the A47 going west, and then a job came up from sort of about 25 minutes away, going somewhere like, I'm going to say Northampton. I don't know where it was going, but it was going to it would be worth going to. And I put a bid on it. It was a small van job. Put £100 bid on for 112 miles. It might be something like Oxford actually. It was somewhere decent amount of journey time. But I didn't get that job either. And after that I thought I'd just go home. So that's what I'm doing. I am now driving home. I am going to look out for jobs, but it's very hot. Anything I get now is going to take me way away from home. If I got a job taking me to my home, I'd go really cheap, but it's just not. I don't live in that sort of area, so I'm going to have to have a very long day for one more job, or just go home for a short day for not much money. At the moment, it's very appealing just to go home and call it a day. I have got a job for Monday. I have got stuff to do this weekend as well. There's a great job on Saturday going from Spalding to somewhere quite far away. I can't remember where it was. I couldn't bid on it because I've got stuff to do tomorrow. I'm going to see my daughter in Manchester and help her move. And Sunday I've got an appointment with an optician. So Monday it's booked in, and I am finally going back up to Scotland. So I'm picking up at 9 o'clock, Mountain Mowbray, and I'm going up to just north of Edinburgh. And I put enough money on it that it's worth. I'll get a day's rate, and I've got enough money if I needed to drive south into England before I start looking for a job the following morning. So I'll see how it goes. If I'm lucky, I'll get a job within Scotland at the end of the day. I'm going to end up tramping on Monday now, but it's going to be a good start to the week. It's a good amount of money, and I'm pleased with it. So for that reason, I'm calling an end to this week now. I'm going home, unless of course it goes up on the way back, because I really can't resist. If I get a job to Grantham, for example, I'll do that, or Newark, or Peterborough, obviously. Right, so stats for the week as it stands at the moment. I had 2 good days and 2 bad days, is a summary. So I worked for 4 days. I drove a total of 1,272 miles, 1,272. I worked for a total of 41 hours and 3 quarters. And I earned gross £824, 824. I spent on fuel £178 to 63 pence, so 179 effectively, and that means that I earned net of fuel this week £645, 645. My average amount earned pence per mile is 50.74, and my average amount per day earned after fuel is £161, 161. So if I'd had 3 good days and 1 bad day, I'd have made my target. Because I had 2 bad days, 2 very bad days to be honest, and 2 pretty good days. I didn't make targets, but I was not many miles away. And the final figure, which I don't really care about, but some of you do, my average hourly rate this week, if you take the 645, take off 4 lots of £80 per day that I've worked for my business costs, running costs, which is an estimate, but it's a reasonable estimate. That leaves me with, if you divide that figure by 41 and 3/4 hours, that means I earned £7 and 78 pence per hour that I worked this week. Right, that is the end of this week, first week of July. We do have a new government about to come into place today, so we'll see how that goes. And that's it. Nothing else to say really. So thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope that you are being successful, however you choose to find that word for yourselves. And I shall see you next week. Farewell, friends.